Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99. I'm back with another quick video. All right, y'all, just back with a real quick one here. I want to give you my thoughts on this upcoming boxing match between Canelo Alvarez and Avni Yıldırım. As y'all know, this fight was discussed a little while back. This fight was supposed to be happening maybe like, I think it was like back in October or November. And, this was one of the reasons why Canelo left DAZN. Well, not DAZN, but he left Golden Boy because he wanted to take on this fight, and they didn't want to really support this type of fight. But now this fight is going down. Now that he's signed over to Matchroom with Eddie Hearn, this match is taking place right after Canelo's coming off his win to Caleb Smith. This fight's taking place, I think, February 27th. And yeah, man, my thoughts on this fight. Come on, I just feel like at this point, a guy like Canelo Alvarez, who likes to boast that he is the best fighter in the world, pound for pound, or whenever he compares himself to the other guys, like whenever they mention Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, and he says no, they're not number one because he is. Well, you got to continue to defend that more so than by skills and by just saying it. You got to prove it by actions. So with that being said, when it comes to proving it by actions, how do you do that? You pick the right opponents. At this point, I feel like Canelo Alvarez, he has no excuse to say, oh, I had to just keep staying active with these type of guys because nobody wants me. No, there's a lot of guys out there that want him, and there's a lot of guys that want him that are decorated champions. There's so many guys to choose from right now. Whatever the division is that he's going to, he's went from 160 up to 175. There are so many guys out there that he can pick that aren't considered cherries in the boxing world. Anybody he picks as far as these major guys with the belt that everybody, really knows is a tough champion, those are the guys he needs to be taking. I know what is his lineup. I might talk about this in another video. It's supposed to be Avni Yıldırım this year, Billy Joe Saunders, and Caleb Plant, which, I can't argue with the Caleb Plant fight. That's a good one. He was about to take that fight back in December, but he chose Caleb Smith instead. But right now, I know a lot of fighters, they want to fight a big fight, then they might fight a little tune-up and stay active fight here. But, Canelo Alvarez, really, like, his track record so far after the Danny Jacobs fight hasn't really been like tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. He has been taking some pretty questionable fights. The Kovalev fight really wasn't a solid fight when there was guys like Beterbiev and Bivol out there, Rocky Fielding, whenever there is a guys like Benavidez out there and Caleb Plant. Now you're fighting a guy like Avni Yıldırım after fighting the Caleb Smith, which that fight didn't really turn out to be a tough contest. I thought it would have been. I thought Caleb Smith would have brought it, but since he didn't bring it, I'm kind of feeling like Canelo should still feel like I really need to test myself. So let me get the next best thing. Let me start the year off with Demetrius. Let me start the year off with Demetrius Andrade or Billy Joe Saunders, then continue that 3-fight plan this year. Maybe fight Jamal Charlo in the summertime. You know what I mean? So there's so many big fights you could take. Jamal, he's big. He's a big middleweight. He'd be willing to move up to 168, I'm sure. Demetrius Andrade is supposed to be campaigning at 168. So there are guys out there. There's a lot better options than Avni Yıldırım out there. Avni Yıldırım was a former sparring partner of Canelo Alvarez. He's faced stoppage losses to, I think, one of the Durrells and Chris Eubank. I remember seeing that fight a little while back. And to me, he doesn't really pose like a big threat. He's really not like a big threat or test for Canelo's throne. You know what I mean? So I might talk about this in another video. I still feel like your pound for pound status, it has an expiration date. It has a way to kind of deteriorate throughout the years depending on your inactivity and who you choose to fight. Let's be real. Just as much as it can be built up by good fights, it can be torn down by less opposition. I won't call Avni Yıldırım, a tomato can or anything like that, but I will say he's not on the level of Canelo. He is a tough fighter for his level, but he's just not on the level that the champion Canelo Alvarez is, So Canelo Alvarez, with that, after leaving Golden Boy, my thoughts is that after leaving Golden Boy, he should be trying to reach out to more of the fights that make sense for his resume. I know he wants the money, but if you really believe in your skill set and you walk around as the guy that's saying, Terrence Crawford's not number one, Lomachenko's not number one, I'm number one, well, continue to take those guys in. Continue to take those big names like a Charlo, Demetrius Andrade, Billy Joe Saunders, Beterbiev, all of those names. You shouldn't really feel any risk in your heart or in your mind if you are that good. You know, I don't believe in if you believe you're number one, I don't believe in risk. You know what I mean? I don't believe in risk. Then if you are the number one guy, you continue to talk that talk, then those are the guys that you should fight all the time. Granted, you could fight maybe a C or B in between just one or two times just to hone your skills. If you just want to, you know, take a stay active fight just to release the pressure off you. You know, I understand that because it is pressure to get up for big fights. But as far as getting in the ring and actually testing your skills, I feel like, hey, you know, if you feel like it's second to none, then hey, you should be proving it just about every fight. Like if you fight 2 or 3 times a year, then 2 of your fights should be big fights, and you know, 2 out of 3 should be your big fights if you fight 3 times a year, and 2 of your fights, if you only fight 2 fights, should be A and B competition. You know, and that's just how I feel, man. Like this fight here, I think we all know the outcome. You know, we all know the outcome. What's going to happen to Avni Yıldırım in this fight? You know, Canelo's just going in there to pick up another win and another check for real. Because what can we really say that Avni Yıldırım is going to bring to the table? Nobody's going to really be breaking this fight down, and nobody's going to really be arguing that Avni Yıldırım is that guy that's going to take the pound for pound status. You know, there's no argument to it. You know, there's no argument for this fight that he's going to pull off the upset. Now, if we were talking better Biev, then yeah, our hearts would be a little bit more pumping. We want to see this fight. Bivol, yes. Back at 175, he was trying to unify titles there. Yes. Benavidez, Caleb Plant, they all pose a threat. So I do like the fact that he's trying to end the year with the Billy Joe and a Caleb Plant fight. But come on, man. You know, there's Jamal Charlo out there and a Demetrius Andre. You know, those are still the fights that we need to see him in there with. You know, some strong, durable guys, slick technicians, guys that really want to go in there and challenge Canelo Alvarez. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one, guys. Let me know what y'all think of this fight. Y'all pretty much know the outcome. But like I said, if you want to continue to hold on to pound for pound status or any type of lineal championship status, you got to continue to refresh that thing. You know, you got to refresh it every time, man, because just as I said, just as much as you can build the pound for pound status up, you can tear it down with mediocre competition.